the next 1 hour. And joining me in studio is no other than the leader of the Citizens First political party, that is no other than President Harry Kalaba. Good evening, Mr. President, and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Andrew Chandazulu. It's good to see you from Lusaka. You know, the last time I saw you was when you were in Mufulira.
It was in Mufulira.
Mufulira, yeah. So from Mufulira to Lusaka.
Yes, most definitely.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You're welcome to Lusaka.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, as we get to set the ball rolling, this is a program that you have sponsored as the Citizens First. I'm sure you want to interact so the people should know, the people who are watching us should know the reason why the Citizens First should be the alternative to the current government in power. First things first, why should the Citizens First be the alternative, or why should that voter out there who is watching us vote for the Citizens First?
Well, the Citizens First, first of all, is a party that was birthed after the demise or the assassination of the party that we initially belonged to, under whose umbrella we even participated in the elections in 2021. And it was birthed, I think it was in September 2022. And from that time, the Citizens First has been a voice of reason. It is a party that is anchored on front-loading citizens. You know, Andrew, I always say that 62 years since we got our independence, Zambia has failed to produce a billionaire.
Okay.
We don't have billionaires in this country. Why? Because most of the advantages in the business space is given to outsiders and not Zambians. The other day I wrote on the Facebook page, I was saying, you know, there was a problem between the Chingola Chilabombwe Road.
Exactly, where we saw Charlie Dirika Pada Kakoso Bridge.
Kakoso Bridge.
Na road.
And that road was being done by an outsider.
Yes, please.
You know, a foreign contractor was given that road to do. So I was saying, imagine if it was a Zambian who was given to do that road.
A lot would have been said.
A lot would have been said. Zambians, so we have said as Citizens First, we are going to use that Bemba adage. Chivinda wabamba no kwakanya akanye. Lwakachira kambushi. Kasengule pokekere. We have to begin trusting our own people. When you look at Egypt, Egypt has been brought to the stage it is at by Egyptians themselves. There is no road which is done by an outsider in Egypt. Go and check your facts. It is Egyptians. Ama buildings ukukula is Egyptians. Putting up these dams, power generating, hydropower stations, it is themselves. Now, it is themselves who are doing that. While for us, we are still under the illusion that only outsiders can do it better. We in the Citizens First have come to the table to say, no, let's give Zambians an opportunity in their own country. We got our independence in 1964. But when you look at us, Namibia got its independence in 1990. Namibia has got a billionaire. South Africa got their independence in 1994. You can't even mention the billionaires they have. Botswana, with a population of slightly over 3 million now, I think, they have got a billionaire. What is wrong with us in Zambia? So for us as Citizens First, we have said we need to front-load citizens. We need to empower citizens, because this is the only country where we feel shy to empower our own people. And so the Citizens First has been born because we want to interrogate every sector.
Okay.
We also want to do value addition to our natural resources. Zulu, you can imagine that in the 60s and 70s, even in the 80s, when Dr. Kaunda was running this country, Dr. Kaunda had the habit of adding value to our natural resources. That has gone. the Citizens First wants to industrialize this country. We want to ensure that value addition is key.
Okay.
We want to ensure that when you produce your mangoes in Mongo, the way we used to produce, I don't know how old you were, but
I'm
you
sure
know
maybe I
that
wasn't born by then.
I think you're not yet born, Andrew.
Mm.
In Mongo, we used to have a plant that was making mango juice
Okay.
because the mangoes in Mongo were found to be very sweet.
Mm.
So mango juice was being produced in Mongo.
Okay.
Mangoes today, when you go even in northern province, you go in central province, you go in on the copper belt, mangoes just go to waste. If you don't eat it raw, nobody's going to make mango jam. Nobody's going to make mango juice.
Mm.
If Dr. Kaunda could make it at that time with technology, which was very limited at the time,
Exactly.
what about today when technology has advanced? So we in the Citizens First believe that we need to begin making mango juice again in Western Province, on the Copper Belt. We need those industries because once we have those industries, then we are creating employment for our people.
Mm.
Mango juice alone, an industry of mango juices here, we can begin feeding the DRC Congo, which has got a population of about 100 million people. We can deal with Angola, we can deal with Botswana, we can deal with Namibia because we have the potential to create that market. Not only that, again, I will tell you that, are you aware that we used to make suits in this country, which were being sold in London? Suits were being made here in Ilwansha. There was a place called Sirius.
Okay.
Sirius was making serious suits. When you go to London, you go in those same expensive places, you'll find the suits made in Zambia. Now it is no longer happening. And we in the CF believe the only way this country is going to come out of the current economic quagmire is by ensuring that we begin value addition to our natural resources.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, you've rightly put it, and I've been following you correctly when you talk about industrialization and how much this is going to improve the economy of the nation. I would love to ask you this question. If we had all these good things in place, how? What happened? How are we at this stage? If we are talking about all this industrialization and the importance that it had to the nation and the economy, how did we reach at this stage? And how do you, as the Citizens First, plan to make sure that when you implement these things, if the people of Zambia gave you the mantle to lead this nation, how are you going to make sure that you protect these initiatives in the nation?
First of all, it's difficult to say at what stage we lost the map. I don't know at what stage did we lose grip of that industrialization agenda. But I will not dive into that.
Okay.
All I can dive into right now is that there is need
Okay.
to begin value addition in this country. And that for us as Citizens First, we feel that the only way the economy is going to make progress, record real GDP growth, is by the fact that we start value addition to our natural resources.
Okay.
Right now, it's not happening. So we find it odd that our citizens who vote for us as leaders are still wallowing in poverty because we are failing to create wealth for them.
Okay.
We are failing to create wealth for them. And this is one of the major issues we want to do. We produce copper in this country, as you know. You are from Copper Belt.
Most definitely.
We produce copper in this country. But the bullets which the Zambia army or the police are using are coming from China. What happened to Mpepetwe? Because we used to have a place called Mpepetwe in Serenje.
Okay.
That's where they used to make bullets. That is value addition. What has happened to that industry? Akaunda Bapangile. The CF feels we have to go back there and ensure that we make those industries have life again. We bring them back to life. We, again, I can give you several examples of the bicycle plant we had in Chipata.
Even the Dunlop industry.
The Dunlop industry on the Copper Belt, you remember?
Yes.
We had Lever Brothers who were making all kinds of soaps.
That should be in Ndola.
In Ndola. You know, we had Kifco, Amasaka, they were making them in Kabwe. Today, Amasaka, we are importing them from outside Zambia. Can you believe it? So these things are painful. When
Talking
we
about
have
the
leaders.
things being painful, Mr. President, your party is called the Citizens First. And when we talk about Citizens First, I can only translate it to making sure that your party prioritizes the interest of the citizens. And one of the things that we cannot run away that you had earlier made mention of is the issue to do with mining. When we talk about mining, the current regime is talking about boosting capacity, bringing about bringing about making sure that the environment is conducive for investors. We saw in Mopani was formerly held by Glencore, and we have now seen IRH being the host of the Mopani copper mines, and the current government is talking about how they have revamped the mining industry, and they are talking about the 3 million metric tons. How are you going to ride on that, or how would you improve the mining industry differently so that it would not just be on paper as the Citizens First political party?
First of all, Zambia's main exports right now is coming from the mining sector. I think if my memory serves me right, the mining sector constitutes about 70% of our exports. And yet in terms of the GDP, contribution to the GDP growth, the mining sector only contributes about 12%. So you can see the disparity. You know, the sponsors of this program were telling me this morning that President Kalaba, we have sponsored a program for you on KBN. We don't want you to go and start talking about any other political party. Just talk about yourself and Citizens First. So now when you ask me comparing things with this government...
Let me rephrase my
because for
Mr.
me,
President.
if I start talking about how they have failed, the sponsors will stop sponsoring this program. So I want to to stick to the rules of what the sponsors are told me. They want people out there to know about the Citizens First. What will we do? Because most of the times when we come for these interviews, mostly, it is pitting us against the ruling party. But now I think it is time, using this same platform, and very grateful to our colleagues who have sponsored this program up until the elections. The purpose, I think, and we'll use it for that purpose, is for the viewers to hear us and what we will do when we come into government. We would want them to know that the mining sector for us, as things stand, is one of the huge revenue spinners that we can use to make Zambia get the revenue it requires. Andrew, you know, coming from the Copper Belt, that the Copper Belt is the way it is because of the mining sector, because of the mines. Makonkola, Mopani, they have shaped the narrative on the Copper Belt. But you see, sadly enough, I think we're not getting much. The Citizens First view is that there is a lot of revenue loss in the mining sector.
And how do you plan to improve that? Yes,
there's a lot of revenue loss, and that is why we want to bring back a body that was existing during the UNIP time, Makaunda's days. There was a body called MEMACO. This MEMACO was basically a metal exporting board, which was basically looking at what was being exported and what was being mined, declared. So ZCCM that time was the one in charge of the mines. So whatever ZCCM was selling outside
was being evaluated
and monitored by that body called MEMACO. Now, whatever you were exporting was in tandem with what the recipients were receiving. Today we have seen discrepancies. I think you have seen that sometimes the Bank of Zambia will say we exported 400,000 metric tons of copper in the year 2024 to China. And yet the Chinese will tell you we imported from Zambia 780,000 metric tons of copper during the same period that the Bank of Zambia had indicated. Now, it is that discrepancy that we need to close, because that is revenue loss. That is revenue loss. The CF wants to close that bleeding which is happening in the mining sector, because we need every resource for the economic development of our country. Secondly, we have also come to understand that Zambia now has discovered a lot of minerals. Andrew, we have got emeralds. You're coming from the copper belt, Andrew.
There's Kaja mining.
There's Kaja mining. Why is nobody talking about emeralds in this country? Why?
Maybe we should ask you that question.
Now that's why the Citizens Face is interested. Because there's a lot of revenue we can get from those emeralds that are being produced from Kana on the copper belt. We are going to interrogate that when we come into government.
Okay.
We'll interrogate that. Why is it that right now we only talk about copper? Copper. Why don't we talk about cobalt? Today, copper on the London Metal Exchange is fetching at about $12,000 per metric ton. Cobalt is fetching at about $33,000 per metric ton. Why are we only insisting on copper and nobody's talking about cobalt? Who is seeing that what we're exporting is not cobalt, but they're only declaring copper?
Okay.
So that revenue loss will stop immediately we come into government, because we believe we are losing a lot of revenue as a result of under declaring of what is being produced, but also not declaring what is produced. Instead of declaring cobalt, they're declaring copper. Have you ever heard of cobalt, how much cobalt has brought in the country? Nobody talks about cobalt. Nobody talks about cobalt. They all talk about copper. I think it is high time we began talking about cobalt, because where there is copper, cobalt is just the neighbor. It's also there. So how come we don't talk about cobalt, which fetches at a very high price than copper? So those discrepancies will have to be looked at by a body we are going to create, so that what we are exporting is exactly what has been mined. If you have mined cobalt, it is cobalt they're going to declare, and the government will get the exact revenue of
Talking
what
about under declaring, Mr. President, in relation to our minerals, how then are you going to make sure that this body that you're talking about, that you're going to create, that is going to be monitoring what is being mined as well as what is being exported, how are you going to make sure that it is detached from the central government? Because majority other times that we're going to see that some of these bodies are going to be maybe attached or inclined to the central government, hence making it very vulnerable to politicians like you as the president maybe coming in and having a hand to say, okay, maybe since they mine this much, let's declare this much, so that maybe a certain portion of it should go elsewhere. How are you going to make sure that it is going to be independent and operating independently?
I mean, Andrew, Dr. Kaunda presided over a body called Memako for 27 years.
And it was independent?
Very independent. Dr. Kaunda never got anywhere from bodies like that. I think Memako was a quasi-government institution, semi-autonomous. That is how it's going to be.
Okay.
What makes an institution survive or get stronger is the political will. The reason why you have seen things not happening the way they're happening is because there's no political will.
Okay.
When we come into government, there has to be political will, because there will be a lot of detachment. Politicians will not even go anywhere near things like that. Money has to go where it should go.
Okay.
And it will go to the right people.
We have hosted politicians like you, Mr. President, saying the same things, to say political interference is not going to be there, or political will is going to be favorable for the Zambian people. For the sake of that person who is watching us right now, how would you assure them that you would not defect from the words that you're saying right now, that you're going to prioritize their interests, Mr. President?
I will tell you that we will not defect from the words that we are saying here. I think we have demonstrated before when we were in government that when there was time or there was an opportunity for me to be entrusted with public money or public property, we did not abuse it.
Okay.
That is on record. We never abused it. And we intend to continue on that trajectory of not abusing public property. Ours is to be great custodians, following after the likes of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, who made sure that what was for the nation was for the greater good of everybody. And that is what we are going to do.
Okay.
The natural resources that you are talking about are for everybody. They must help us to develop the country. Imagine if Dr. Kaunda also had opened a small company for mining copper and mining gold during his time. We would not have built the roads we have built today. We would not have built the kind of infrastructure that was built during his time. Dr. Kaunda was quick to do what he did because money was going where it was supposed to go. And that is what made a difference.
Okay.
That's what made a difference. So even for us coming into government, ours is to ensure that we help the artisanal miners. These people they are calling illegal miners. We want to ensure that we give them their correct documentation.
Most of these, Mr. President, just to cut you short, most of these that we're calling artisanal miners, you're going to find that they might not understand our English that we're using here, because majority of them, I'm from the Copper Belt, and majority of them might not understand our English. Maybe can you put it in a layman's language, or if possible, we use the local dialect. What is your message to these artisanal miners, and what is your policy in relation to the natural resources as in relation to the artisanal miners?
Thank you very much. And I will use, with the permission, na labo mfechiwe mbapantu. Abengi ninchwa kumunyilonga balangu focus enseri. Bambi bali ku kanyelele kumpika. Bambi bali kumufumbwe.
Shemka basunga shani.
Aba bantu bali bapele ama documents. Aba bantu bali batana ama documents. Babeta ati my illegal miners. Umuntu uwafuma mu Lusaka nangu wafuma mu Furila aya kumufumbwe asha matawuni asha mabanzi asha na makowakola aya kumufumbwe mufayo bwikashi mulimo wabuteko ukwafa uli amuntu pakutila asunge olupwalo wakwe ufenga twasa mu government tulandira ukuthi lafira bale bakanka mbati yo my illegal miners ifoya tulefoya filia tulefoya bali abantu tukabapele if paper la fya kubombera nokubafunda if bafuire okubomba mu Ministry of Mines nangula ma mine yabolo baleyimba so ba Ministry of Mines makamaka ba cadastre department bafuire ba study centralize ama operations yabo eko bamfata abantu nabasanga gold bela ikala fye mu Lusaka muno mwine bafuire baleba ama officials babo baya kudakweni basangire gold nombe fishtikeri ngiri nefa kutila baleba abantu bada basangire gold ati seni ku Lusaka mwise na ma coordinates uli abatwala ma coordinates ku cadastre elo baya bebo kutila awe ama coordinates mwaleta pali bo muntu kale nomba uyo muntu afuma kui pantu ifo babomba pali yama pali ground ni fwewo imani foto waisangena ba yama nangula bashikulu nomba uyo wine umwine wa yama coordinates afuma kui nishikanshi ba cadastre na baleka kumboka ka plot.
Okay.
Wale fwana waona wakadasta nao ale umfwana limbi na masene nango abakumali nango abakwisa eba yapali yapanchende. Ifetwera ndokutila chibinda wabamba no wakanya kwine akanye. Tatu wakasuminishe ukuita abantu abasanga amabwe kudabekalile. Ukutila okubafunyapo olomwaita po abantu bambi awe. Pantu first of all government bene tabayishibe nokuyishi bati kwali amabwe koda kumufumbwe tabayishibe abayishiye bantu bekala bakwenda kumufumbwe ebasangira tingaya amabwe yamoneka shanifi yayibela abayishibe ati kwali ba god kasenseri kulya ku Mwinilunga bantu bekala ku Mwinilunga ebayishibe ati kuli god kuno but abasanga god ichifuire government iba kunkumbe bwino ibombe na bena bwino government abatumina bakapokola ati fumeni bale batamfya kumufumbwe kwati nimbutushi chalo chiri chabo.
Okay.
Lesanga atupele shuko ili akuteke chino chalo no mwaka tulengeramu. tukamaking sure kuti la vari avonshawo vatamfya vavekera pafire vaya mukuvombela tukavapera amanani yavo amalicenses yavo pantu ngamwapela amalicenses yavo varya nishiva government vatampokupoka amataxes pamalicenses elo ngamulepoka amataxes nishini revenue yenu anga government ilelako pamuno.
Okay. Elo twalanda palifyo vakateka. I would love us to focus much on that. Ilo mwalanda okwebati mukavapela ma licenses abantu. I'm sure mukafawo kuchita if you're into munshila anangula mutande wa konkana no lupapulo lwa chalo cha Zambia. Na mchalo cha Zambia mwali ba land title then ama kutuwa kwata ma rights pa surface then you don't have the underground rights. That brings me to this. How are you going to make sure that you harmonize the situation in relation to land titling? Because I can have minerals underground, but then eronaisa kufiputulwa afya buteko balanje okwati no imwenga ba Andrew mwakwata fya ama rights pamulu
surface
mwakwata fya ama surface rights. How are you going to harmonize that situation?
Ichinga chakutila yonse ama minerals ayaba panshi esonde pano mu Zambia yaba mino ya buteko elonga bamipela land yamipela inena lands minister.
Exactly. I was asking that question in relation to that.
Na the minister of lands in kaina lishiwe kuti lama surface rights ngabakupela ida title deed yo title 99 years government ilapelo muntu 99 years. That's why that 99 years lease. That's why kwa at leasehold tenure aid abapela ba Ministry of Lands elo kwa bana customary land. Customary basha mfumo wabene ngabakupela. So ida leasehold ngabakupela. Ba government bakwashima kofe pantu ni leasing. Shimo fatu bakusonkesha ko ida land pa myaka 99. Elo nyama kana 99 ngayapwa. Wa government na kwatensa ambusha kupokolola ida land. Na mfaba government na kupela land. Ngamatumo na maka kwa Minister of Lands. Na ngula ba president bene. Bali kwata maka aya kushita revoke any title. Tiba ishita revoke. Why? Pantu pali mailo. Bakasanga chapa to apele ba Andrew Panshap. Pali God. Elo government na ikwate nkongole. Nomba ba Andrew twalimipele chino twalimipele title deed pali land. Nomba pantu pali God Panshap. Elo imolo male ista apply, the master apply for God nangu oil. Pano pa KBN pano. Imomo alefa fa kupanga studio. Elo mapanga studio. I oil ya isa tamara ndati ajawo nisangu hapo awe. I oil ya isa naona ifivela. So wa government twala sta revoke. Twala mipela pami pantanshi palo twala mipela land yenu.
Okay.
And you compensate you. They'll compensate you everything if I'm a post repo. Why is it like that? But it is like that for government to protect our natural resources.
Okay.
Pantu oil ngamasanga oil pano. Hii nefe pano ya oil ole ya wafie yenu imwe. Nishichalo mwachika la pansanza.
Okay.
But ngamasanga oil sete bati awe i oil twasanga pano. Twala sharing anomba na map idia road tutapanga kucha vuma idia road twala panga idia road yakuna twala panga using the same oil ni shishalo chile apantanshi. So that is why there's a difference between surface rights and underground rights.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. Now as we move to another aspect or another sector that is very pivotal when it comes to food security as well as the economy of the nation, tulea ku farming ushe abalimi imwenga ba citizens first chinshi icho bamayo nangula batata bali abalima kuliyeko babedere ne bala lyabo bakesa abikira vote lyabo pali ba citizens first bushe abalimi finshi mbakwatire ngaba citizens first.
Without shikuna lipa radio, I was on radio Sky FM and they were telling me that government, Mr. Kalaba, stop telling lies on that radio. Government is producing fertilizer using a capital fertilizer. And now we're even exporting out of fertilizers in this country. And I said, you have missed it. The fertilizer Dr. Kaunda was making, Muyunipi, idabale panga ku nitrogen chemicals of Zambia. was different from the fertilizer our colleagues are making today.
How different is it, Mr. President?
Because ila fertilizer vakaunda vale panga, it was meant for the farmers to access easily at a very subsidized price. Mutengo unono. Ile yelo badia capital fertilizer badia, it's capital ntwanikani. You have to buy it at 1,050 kwacha per bag. So it is not meant for farmer input support program. It is not meant for that. It's meant for business. Ichilefu waikwanomba mchalo chesu kusta revitalize and recapitalize NCZ. Ngamwashita recapitalize NCZ nishi imwe mwala kwate shuko lyaba shibulimi ukanu kulalwilo mufundo pantu ile lo mufundo na uchepa ama farmers baleya kano mufundo mameda 62 years kutapukelo buntungwa ama farmers kula kano mufundo mumameda andro elo mlebe panobo fiyo we have done well, GDP microeconomics wabalole shata bana bekutaba pantu ngakuli abale chula muri chino chalo abenge ma farmers they are receiving very limited fertilizer, and we in the Citizens First are saying we want to begin producing fertilizer which is going to be accessible cheaply by our farmers. That is one. Secondly, we want our farmers to stop struggling with the issue of selling their produce.
Are they
struggling because you see, Andrew, and by the way, I'm a farmer myself here.
Okay.
But inshita batulipirira poendala makwe FRA ninkondo. Ninkondo pakupoke endala mashobe kwe FRA kuti.
Okay.
Iyi system turefa tukaichinje. Turefa afama ngatwala amatabalelo kwe FRA mailo bafira mulipira endala mashako.
But I'm sure you know, Mr. President, that this is on record. We've heard the issue to do with fertilizer, a bag of fertilizer going at 250. So even you saying that when a farmer supplies maize, I want you to put it on record. The people are watching there. Bushe vashwulimi nangula abadimi ngabaleta amataba ngachakwe bati bali votere uteko bwa Citizens First chakula abashani mpokere ya rupia
natulanda ifo kutila musunge video yi musunge feta tulinga bali kuti balebe po kufanda ti 10 hours ngamwansala 14 hours bata ba chef balelanda bali kwati nabe minwa badia ifo tulelande fintu ama facts va FRA tabakaleshta mata tabakalepuka mata kuma farmers ngatabako tendela mashaku balipira ile longa mwa ku market bandru mulya mukisa tomato ku muntu alamwe bati fese ndeni tomato mukandeteranga mwakwata awe nombanishi bashubuli mibena mpuka na mataba yabo tamuko tendela mas government and it wa government namko atenda lama ngamwalanda kuli BO7 mwafundu mana ukamufainda mashabi BO7 akutela ipite but indama shako ipira mafarmers tamkwete chakana ife tulefo ya farmer ngaba amatabanga today bakuchipata ila fake BN kuchipata
irafika chalo chonzi
bakuchipata ngati munimvela ngati magulisa milisi yanu chimanga chanu magulisa lero mailo bafunika mpasa ni drama zanu akuli government.
Okay.
So that mwevene mwazavo using and drama zanu izo osati government imzati mukabwele mailo abantu bashitisha mataba mu jwanikane mudi ni mu June,
some even as far as September.
Yes, mule pele ndalama mu February. Mu February ero mule pele ndalama shabo kuchusha ma farmers chibele kuma farmers. That is coming to an end.
The argument there was that according to plan never would take by about 500,000 metric tons, and they ended up going up to over 1 million.
If you have a job on training, if wenga tuwaisanga ma Citizens First na tukana fetu lefo aya farmer ngashitisha lelo mailo mwamuli pila umukalambatala minwa umwine farmer fuili asenda aisungiro mwine achitamoifane for kuchita munda la mashakwe atampa nokuplana for the next farming season.
Okay.
Tatu wakasuminishena kabidi wafama nga balesha mataba ukuya pada pamashika pada balala sleeping at satellite depots. We will not allow that.
Okay.
We will not allow that, because why is it that FRA officials nishibenukila ba FRA ma depots nishibenukila tatulefwa bakaleinuka tulefwa ka ma shifts pa filling station when you go at a filling station tabenuka apa muli lelo pale, just go across the road there tabenuka, because bambi na beingila 20 hours balainuka 02 bambi balaingila 02 balainuka 06 bambi 06 12 hours nomba ba FRA if chitika fe once in a year momu nabike muno obunangani wakweba 17 hours nabo kuinuka
Nga under the citizens first Kalaba mbashali.
If they will be in shifts bambi baingila 7 hours bainuka 14 hours bambi 14 bainuka 21 hours bambi 21 bainuka ngani 04 bambi 04 bainuka takuli huko lainuka bakanja ma shifts so that fama ngana atwala mataba yakwe bado ma shifts takuli kuinuka until bakupimina lo wire.
As we get to backtrack, you had made mention of one aspect, Mr. President, that I think has been touched on a lot of times when we talk about food security. You had made mention of you're going to make sure that inputs are going to be cheap and accessible. How much is cheap when it comes to the farming inputs? Let's talk about fertilizer in this case.
Fertilizer will be cheap because it will be produced here. And what makes fertilizer? No, I cannot say the price. No. I take us not into temptation.
Okay, I will not take you. So how cheap?
Fertilizer is going to be cheap because we are going to begin producing it here. What makes fertilizer expensive is because we are still importing fertilizer from Ukraine, importing fertilizer from Russia. And even when you make it here, the fertilizer is still expensive because it is brought here not for the small scale farmers.
Okay.
It is brought for business and to export to other countries. It is not meant for the audience here. So for us, we want to create fertilizer which will be for the Zambian farmers. Fertilizer which will service our people here. Once it is cheaper, once the cost of production is cheaper, naturally the cost of milling will also come down.
Okay. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. The citizens first in relation to the health policies. How are you going to make sure that you get to deal with health sector? Because we've seen that the health sector in successful governments, it is not devoid of scandals. How different is the health sector going to be under the citizens first?
Look, I think we have always said this ourselves that, like you've put it, your health is your wealth. We want to make sure that our hospitals have proper equipment. Zambia is surrounded by 8 countries. 8 countries. We have not taken advantage of our geographical disposition to market ourselves as a country. Why should someone coming from the DRC Congo, the DRC Congo does not share a border with South Africa, why should they leave Zambia, pass through Botswana, then go to South Africa for medication? Why? We share the longest border with the DRC, 2,000 kilometers with the DRC Congo. What we need to do is to take advantage of the countries surrounding Zambia. Once we take advantage of these countries surrounding Zambia, we are going to find that medicines will be in the hospitals, because the levels of investment will not only be thinking about our population, we'll be thinking about the Congolese as well.
Okay.
We'll be thinking about the Zimbabweans. We'll be thinking about the Angolans, the Swanas, as well as the Namibians. Why? Because if we stock our hospitals here, it is easier to leave Lilongwe
and come
to go into Chipata for treatment than Lilongwe to go to South Africa. We want to have our machine. Can you imagine our cancer department? Our machine itakuwa our cancer department. How do you expect the Congolese to come? If you feel nomba Zambians, eba left mamuno Zambia, ba mukubukisha, padanga mwafuma paka sombalesa lumwa pantanshati twakumanani. It's because we have not invested in our own health programs here. The CF in government will ensure that we take advantage of our proximity to all these countries.
Taking advantage of our proximity.
Nombelelo mwasanga ati mga mamufipatela kabeni ukasama lelo kabeni kumbala kabeni kumpulungu kabeni kuntsana kwisa mwasanga kutila ngamwa kufipatela imiti mufipatela tamuli bati umuti ulesangwa kumunada nokwali bati umunada mausho umunada imu umunada is a system which came from Tanzania. Quite ama markets like Tuesday markets, you know, bonse abantu bala kumana, yeah, if into chipa ma hospitals yotamule sangu emiti but umuti aspirin Panadol Coartem ile sangwa pamunada
nemi chonse
shimwaishi bati namwingirilwa
ngero mwasosa nenchende shonse shimwa landapo umuti muchalo chesu cha Zambia tetu wisio kwa buloru pia. And we've heard politicians speaking like you are speaking. Bushe elo mwalando kwa timwe imiti mufipatela shakula sangwa. Bushe, how do you plan on funding the health sector and how sustainable is that going to be in the long term?
Imwe nachimia wa Andrew. Nachimia wa ati mfumile kopa belt. And I told you that lesa alitemwa Zambia. We have discovered God in this country. Nobody's even telling you where the God we have discovered from Mufumbwe, the God we have discovered in Kasenseri, in Munilonga, the God we have discovered in Mpika is going. Nobody has told you that. That is why if we get to Aisa, tulefwa tukashite set up a board. Idakuwa kwata ukwati kuzimbabwe. Kuzimbabwe bali kwata a board, ishta God, from even local people. Ngana ukwata na ngufenika gramu wa ya kudia bala bapime bala kushita. There's a ready market. Nomba kuno mulando wakutila katushefe twaba ne misango yesu yani akowela tamufu ayo muntu ngana kwata 1 kg at awe kamone amasene.
Okay.
Eva fish be.
So in short, the funding is going to come from the natural resources.
The funding is coming from the natural resources by empowering the people, because abantu ngana beshi bati nabakwata ko benga yashisha God yawo. Ready God via shtisha. It is easy for them. It is easy for them to go and work hard. Elo basa shisha kuli government. Elo government nga yashisha nomba yasha pamutengo Kalaba. Revenue is just flowing in. Flowing in. Flowing in. And then there will be more money now to buy our machines mufpatela, because the kind of God tusangele kumufumbwe. If we are just to use it properly, we have got no reason why the University Teaching Hospital should not have state-of-the-art machinery.
Okay.
The kind of God we have no reason why Kitwe Hospital, Central Hospital, should not have state-of-the-art machinery. We've got no reason. But it's because of leadership. Miyamukubula abantu abakutila behavior yabo nisangwapo. Mwaya bulati awe ne otrefa abatuteke baumesana aba.
Ndesubira bakateka ngaba Kalaba mule ushoko ati kwali bechamba chimweshiro kwati pansa katapa bulati tatu apwili kishe. I'm sure you also have some bad seeds in the Citizens First, because you cannot just say that the Citizens First is devoid of such characters. Ilio mwamono kwa ati ngaba Citizens First mwaisa pabutungulushi. How are you going to deal with such components in relation to them sabotaging the works or the manifesto that you're giving us here?
No. That will not happen. You know, Filafile Chitika, Mnom government, wanjelele kwa wananda ma sponsors na wena mbaina tukumiyoko fepa no. You know.
And I should say that I've forced you to do that.
Yes, you have pushed me there. You know, if you Chitika mu government, if you are vale sala o vale ikata, it is a very bad thing. Ile longa nami pusha. Why is Nixon Chilangwa in jail? Tamwanga suke. Ile longa nami pusha. Why is Chitotela in jail? Tamwanjebe. Nganai pusha shelu sambo. Fisha lechi tamujeo mule tamwalande. Ndondolo lene fyo ba yamba. Baberele muchifungo mule tamwanjebe. And yet, Muli busy mule but you are fighting corruption, fighting corruption. That is not the way you fight corruption. That is not the way you fight corruption. Vambi mule batitika. Elo vambi mule batio pitire nyuku. Nelo vapokera makalenda mu June na ponga ni muga swali mpuka makalenda okuba kupanongo bakopa. Nothing ifyala ndikwepo. Pantu bena mafuta. When you are fighting corruption, fight corruption the way Vasata was fighting corruption. When the late Roger Simwewa was suspected of doing wrong, he didn't do anything wrong.
Okay.
When he was suspected of doing wrong, Vasata dropped Roger Simwewa as Deputy Minister of Agriculture. Mu government mumia bataba mfuire nsoni. Ababa nesu baranda kutira umuntu nga ni minister wa ACC not to don't announce them what you are investigating them because
but the president is on record saying that when you do wrong you are on your own.
Ineshe foko anda pale wa president amulera ndapo. Mule mpatikisha pantu apato alalo fyanya elo mailo wakatume bakapokola kainge because umuntu nga anda pa muntu ufuire to muntu na afa mushike ni bale ikata.
Okay.
Bale ikata nombo mulando akutila. Ichifuire bale ikate nsala, ichifuire bale ikata ubulofu abale tamuno muchalo, bale ikata abantu abakayele. A problem ilipo.
As we realign, as we move away from that,
corruption, Mozambique, the way it is being fought is not right. Abantu bale bashita intimidate in this country. You know, with Abu Shukua, I was talking to some people. Ababomba ku Chambeshu water. Northern province. Ababomfi balekala for 3 months. Taba for the shenda la makuru ba government. 3 months taba for la company yabo idia. Nga balanda pokutira 3 months to alikala mwe baneso. Tatwa fala poenda la maifwe. Ngolu pu alweso lile ikala shani. Atwa tukama kumba. Mwekate. Nangula tule kutamfinish to mulembe suspension later. Nangula mulembe ni nkalata. Ya kutina nakani ngabukisha pokulanda. Na ba union baleti no kuti no kulanda. Nomba chalo cha msango shani icho. Cha kutila aba bomfi bayikala kumunga wefwafwa.
Okay.
So issue ya kuchambeshu water is very serious. Panto ma salaries ya no. If ya kubomfi taba kwata ba bomfi. Nemi kalile fya water ya wama bayikala kumunga wefwafwa. It's the same thing which is happening. Company mo in a mother company kuwapula water.
Okay.
Na kwena mwali umfu ya 43 wa bomfi. Vali ba suspend. Na minister nzovu nipa TV panondi. Na ni mtumia na phone. And na maero tukayandra manzovu pantu. Ayama issues. Banzovu. Banzovu vanji lati bali ukabwe.
Okay.
He's in Cabo and is coming back and the money maero ni shibabwela.
But did he admit that he is aware of those happenings?
Yes. He's aware. And in fact, he was very decent. He said, I'm going to explain to you, President, what is happening. Kuchambeshi water na kuwapula water. Therefore, I'm saying milondolwela pantu. I am my issues. Yali start affect my workers.
And I hope you update us once that is updated.
Definitely. And I'm going to follow it up closely because I want to talk about chula in their own country. Afuna kwata balandira po. Ba union ngatabalelanda. Ifwe ko balandira ko pakutila na minister wantu amweva ete one time fe pantu. Olonganda felo nje kwisa.
Okay.
Va CF badi mpelo muri mo Kalamba uwa kupokolola kukanwa kuli ababayisa. Sausage ukana tulefunya yako sausage ukano.
Okay.
Pakutila bwekelo ko badi.
Talking about
kadi waisa kuyaya.
As we get to now conclude on the issue to do with segregation as well as selective application of the law, one aspect that comes out most prominent is the issue to do with the appointments in some of these institutions that gets to fight against graft. How are you going to handle that? Are you maybe going to make sure that you detach the ACC from the central government in relation to the appointments?
The Anti-Corruption Commission is a creation of Parliament. The ACC was meant to be a quasi-government institution, semi-autonomous, meaning it is a watchdog institution of government. It is supposed to watch even the president. Now the president, because he doesn't understand these things very well, he gets the ACC now under his office. The DEC under my office. vakapokola under my office. So how would they investigate? That's why namwana number one alale kumakadas
How
vayo
different
PND.
are you going to be as the president, Mr. President Harry Kalaba? You are vying for presidency. Where very soon we're going to the polls on the 13th of August.
Lesa
How
nokusuminisha
different are you going to
lesuminisha
be?
fifya vukateka lesa nokusuminisha lesuminisha nokuvatwalava in August.
And then mkapusana koshani kwaya will not
Ifefe
keep these
tukapusana ko
institutions under you.
tukapusana kupanti twakave hypocritical.
Okay.
Ngababa nesu va UPND ababa nesu vasamfya kunse mpoto vasamfya kunse mukati vashefiko evalya yesu waleita ati brood of vipers misango yakowela yakutila vambi mule vafyenga fimofini ifya avana venu vachitiwe na tawe isokwa kutamba DSTV amajokes yeka. When we come, the law is blind. The law is blind. I want to give you an example. But you might think I'm just talking the talk. I don't know the Minister of Lands. Kwali amakadas abashitire invade land. Kuda kulusaka West. Over 500 cadres vaya kanyempanga. And I said I'm not going to tolerate nonsense.
Okay.
Nishasumine.
What did you do?
I went to see President Sata. It was a Friday after I finished opening parliament. Na vakonka va President Sata. Vanzolo kunja ati nishulefa kuna tuwa president. Ninkwata problem ini. Ama cadres na vashita invade land kulusaka West. So what do you want me to do? Atuwa president defa mumpele nsambo ndefo kuyaveka tabonsala makadasi. Pakutila abantu beka leko because wafura konka ifunde. Therefore I am munje vile kukulwa Minister of Home Affairs tuombele pamona vena. But president told me ikalapo and I sat. That's why I have a lot of respect for that man, Azata.
Okay.
Sit there. May his soul rest in peace. Sit there. If an idea ikala. Babula na phone batumina na baedi galongo. Balongo mulikui. Balongo ati ndi ku parliament. Parliament fifita ku parliament na akale mbelengere speech nishimule chitoko. Atawu tuwachelaisha but iseni kuno. Balungu came and found me more office muri basata. May also his soul rest in peace. Elo babe balungu ati nomba Kalaba ndefu wachiranjeba. Ona ba president nimpokela report ukutila over 500 PF cadres have invaded land kudakulusaka West. And I'm proposing that we should not tolerate anarchy. Therefore tubafunyeko kulya pakutila abantu aba following the procedure abechuliramo. But president told Balungu, can you work with him? And therefore he activity kachitike mailo. And nobody should even cry sata nakana bembikamo. Thank you. If it was a meeting, Kampiongo Tafwa, Kampiongo is still around. You can ask Stephen Kampiongo because Kampiongo was co-opted now by Balungu. That time Kampiongo was the deputy minister to Edgar Lungu. That's how he was co-opted, and we carried out that operation very effectively. Kusaka West. So why am I giving you this story? I'm giving you this story because ngafya chitike muri government tulimo. Ngatawaposere kwa mano. Ngabaku nkenye pfoko langa lefi bali angala. Nombale soma kwa chiro ulusena ka 5 years bamyanga fi. Kola angala fi bakamyanga. Kwa shala fi ba mansa no. Next month April tuatampa screening of presidential candidate supporters. Mume after next month my nominations.
Okay.
So there is no time.
Talking about nominations, Mr. President, underlined that word, nominations. I'm sure there might be people who are watching us right now and they might be interested in coming and seeking for adoption in the Citizens First.
By the way, we'll be advertising. I think Deputy Secretary General Ambassador Bota was telling me that we're advertising. I think it's on the 7th of March. We are going to start our advertising of parliamentary candidates.
Amongst all the political parties, yes. Why the Citizens First? Why should that aspiring candidate come to the Citizens First political party?
I think, first of all, the Citizens First is the most stable political party in the opposition, I must say.
On what perimeters, Mr.
I mean,
President?
look, for us, we have really done our homework when it comes to preparing for these elections. We don't just come here on TV and talk. We have done our homework. We have had our convention. We had it on the 7th of December 2024. Our office bearers are in place. And by the way, I'm also an office bearer, registered with the Registrar of Societies. Go and check, I'm there.
Okay, you are there. We'll not see that. So
No,
maybe
me,
this,
I'm there.
maybe this signature for President Harry Kalaba is not going to be
I am
accepted.
there. Me, I'm there. I'm an office bearer.
Okay.
So talk to me nicely.
Okay.
So we have done that exercise, and we are on course with our returns. Everything is intact with us, and we were looking at the documents even the other day with the Secretariat, just to make sure that
Everything is in place.
Madam Mangalazaromes does not come and play games with us. So everything is on course.
So that is a reason enough so for someone to come into the
They are very free. They should come. They should apply. And the Citizens First is a party of choice. It is your political party. Please apply as a member of parliament. Apply as a mayor or council chairperson, as a member, as a councillor. You are free to apply in all those positions.
As I get to put you on the line, Mr. President, I remember not long ago you had extended a hand to some individuals. I just want to get it from you. Would you maybe have some specific individuals who you would extend your invitation in relation to applying for adoption under the Citizens First?
No, we had said all those. Yes, I remember. We said all those who are being victimized by any political party, especially those who are in the UPND. They're free. If they want to apply, they can apply, but it's up to the party, the central committee of our party.
After scrutinization?
After scrutinizing them. Especially MPs who didn't work. MPs who voted for Bill 7 should not even waste time, because that is not what the Zambian people felt very disappointed and betrayed.
Okay.
So, but those who didn't vote for Bill 7 in UPND, they stood up against Bill 7, Karibu Sana. They're very welcome.
Okay.
We want people that can stand up for national integrity, people that can stand up for this country. We want to work with them.
Okay.
Talking
about that, Mr. President, I would also love to get it from you. You talked about you being the most intact opposition political party currently. Let's also talk about structures. How structured is the Citizens First in relation to mobilization across the country? Because when we talk about a general election, we're talking about you as the president, Mr. President. You're not going to be everywhere in the country. How structured are you as the Citizens First across the country?
Today you can go to Chavuma and you'll find our district chairman, Mr. Samakai, is there. Today you can go to Solwezi and you'll find our secretary, our provincial secretary, Mr. Mulemba, is there. Today you can go to Eastern Province. You are going to find Comrade Danton Njovu, Comrade Gilbert, Gilbert Ngulube kaje. They're all there.
Okay.
You know. So we are a party. Go to Chadiza today. Adamson is there as district chairman. I mean, go to whichever district you're going to mention. The CF is there. We have been doing this for the last 4 years.
Okay.
Putting structures across the country. I have traveled this country myself as presidential candidate. There are very few places I've not touched. I have been to every province, putting up a message of hope for our people.
Okay.
And we are presenting ourselves before them.
All right.
On the 13th of August.
Thank
that
you.
They should consider us for leadership.
Well, now, Mr. President, coming back to you when we talk about coordination in relation to the Citizens First. You and I, Mr. President, are here because at some point you were as young as I am, and at some point you were even younger than I am, and you went to school. What is your policy or what is your direction when it comes to education?
We have believed that education is an equalizer. Education will give you an opportunity to open doors that you would not have ordinarily opened. It's because of education that I have met the Queen, I have met the US President, I have met presidents of the world. It's because of education which has taken me there. As foreign minister, I have visited 93 countries, during my tour of duty. It's because of education. And so I believe strongly myself that we must invest in education very seriously. That's why when we talk about free education, the Citizens First has said we'll continue with free education, but not the way they are running the free education now.
How different would the
We want the free education to be like the free education that I went to. Free education twaileko ineno mnandi Nixon chilango ala myewa. The education we went to yakutila na myuku vale itupela ngati wako school.
Okay.
Free education yesu na ma books vale itupela. Nomba batapela konsefu. Elo abana babo taba mu masukulu yali abakulira abana babapina. We don't want that. We want free education to reflect abapina tibayako abakankala kutibayako, because it is free education. Akale, if you are going to a private school, wale bati nishuri chikopo. Akale kwa ku private school nshikuku kuseka. Okay. We had friends who were going pa treetops. Votala pa Osaka boys. We thought tukapa treetops nishifikopo. Twale bamba na kumbali pa treetops vale. But these days ngola pa mukandawire. Elo wala pa treetops. Nshula pa treetops wa kupelo mchinji.
Okay.
We have swapped things. People were admiring to go in government schools those days. Today it's not the case. So we coming in government, we want to go back to the glorious past where government schools were celebrated.
Okay. So mean that
schools were funded adequately. Not if a teacher, they are not even funded properly. Na choko yakuluisha. What type of teaching is that at free education? That has to change. That has to change when we form government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talking about that change to you, the dear viewers, I think, Mr. President, in the best interest of time, we can just maybe accommodate a call or two so that we can now get to wrap up with the program. You have talked about free education, and one of the things that is coming out prominent, you're talking about not doing it the way it is being done. One of the things that is coming out prominent is that free education should now be legalized. How
it is legalized?
How would you because currently it is just a policy.
No, but once it's a policy is a legalized issue. So free education is legalized in this country. It is not illegal.
And once you ascend to power,
we have said we'll continue with free education, but with a proviso.
Okay.
We want free education.
Let's accommodate a call to Mr. President. Hello, caller. You're live on the program. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Who do we have on the line, and why are you calling us?
You have Mr. Shamanga calling you from Chingola.
Yes, please. You can go ahead under a minute, please. Please kindly turn down the volume on your TV sets.
Okay, let me just do that.
Yes, please. Under a minute, you can go ahead with your submission.
Yes, thank you very much for bringing President Hari Kalaba on that seat. The president is speaking as if he governing a country. It's like a switch, an electrical switch, where you switch, the lights are on, you switch off, the lights are off. That's what he's trying to say. In 5 years, he can do all those good things that will happen. Zambians will be very happy. Gold,
okay, as you
gold, you'll be selling gold, and then money will be flowing into the country, and then all hospitals will have medicines, all workers will be paid, everything will just be spot on. Okay. No, Harry. Mwacho and you could take a chalo.
As
take a chalo, something else. Huh?
kuti mwasondwera mkazi ati tuchita accommodate na bambi.
President Tesho.
Okay, tuatasha mkwai. Thank you very much. You can actually do the same. The line is open. The lines are open. You can actually just call us, okay, as we accommodate this one. Hello, caller. Good evening. You're live on KBN TV.
Good evening, Mr. Good Moderator.
Good evening. Thank you, sir. Who do you have on the line and where are you calling us from?
Wonderful. President Harry Kalaba, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
This is one Triple H influential man.
From where?
Right up now, I'm in Dollar.
Okay, thank you very much. You can go ahead under a minute, please.
Yeah, but I'm based in Osaka. I think we have been following you, Kalaba. You speak very well. But encouragement ametinga mpase kai muntu amene abwera kusunga bantu sazivika mulungu ndiye amene apasa.
Okay.
But America mpase ingamkoserese nchabe nchakuti mazambian wamene bapitamo UPND vamene bachita pamene mwaona kuti apa bakangiwa imwe the way you are explaining mleta idea titikabwera and without bitterness ka ndiye li opposition yametifuna amene alibe bitterness alibe personal interest muntu amene aleta my ideas bantu wazaona but muntu aina vision ndiye opposition ametifuna not my opposition ametifuna ametiyangana bakamba muntu personal that one bantu kuti pamene wazapunzira Africa muntu akankara pamene mulira apo bapunzirako chimozi vibiri bantu ndiyo kama no ndiyo opposition muntu ankara ku opposition kuti we are enemies we only differ vamene kuti apa this time mukaita convince bantu bavomera nichi time yafika.
As you conclude, sir.
As I conclude, Mulunga Mdari saying one Triple H influential man calling you from Ndola.
Thank you very much, influential man. We're going to accommodate the last phone call in the best interest of time so that we can now get to wrap up with the program. But keep in mind that this is just the inception of this program. Make sure that you should be on the lookout for this program every other Tuesday immediately after the news. This program will be coming, and keep in mind that this is not a program for the KBN TV. This is a program that is sponsored by the Citizens First, a political party that is led by President Harry Kalaba. As we accommodate our last caller. Hi, caller. Good evening. You're live on KBN TV.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. Can you give us your name as well as your submission, please?
Yes, that's the consent citizen calling from Mundola.
The floor is yours, sir, under a minute.
Yes, no, I'm just urging our president, Mr. HK8. Our president, carry on with the presidency. We are behind you, sir. You talk well. You are encouraging us, and you are creating very well, sir. The way we are living in Zambia, we have got so many problems, which we know you are going to help us. You are the Moses we have. Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
Just continue with the programs.
Thank you very much for coming through. Well, I wish we could go on and on with the phone calls, but you know that time has never been our best ally. Keep in mind that this is a program that is sponsored by the Citizens First, and we are featuring the president of the Citizens First, that is President Harry Kalaba. Mr. President, your reaction to the phone calls, Ichalo Tachabanga switch. How would you react to that?
Thank you very much. I heard I was advising me that I shouldn't just be talking the talk here instead of understanding governance. Maybe just to remind him,
Okay.
in case he has forgotten, that I was Minister of Foreign Affairs. I was the third most senior most person. After the Vice President, it was the Foreign Minister. So I understand governance very well. And when I say things, I'm not saying them out of jokes, or I'm not saying them out of ignorance. I'm saying things because Zambia is a rich country. When I talk about having medicines in hospitals, I'm not just saying it because we can't have hospitals. I mean, medicines in hospitals. Namibia today, as we are talking, Madam Mundaitwa, the president of Namibia, has managed to pay back all the loans with the IMF and the World Bank. Why didn't the other presidents pay? How come she has paid? The same thing has happened in Burkina Faso. Traore, how come he's paying all the debts when his predecessors did not pay? So you cannot say what you are saying cannot happen, Chalo governance is difficult. No, sir. Try me. Try me, Kabidi.
Try me, that
Yes.
is the underlying word.
Yes, try
Mr.
me.
President, under 2 minutes, your message to the people of Zambia, why President
But I
Harry
want to
Kalaba-
thank the concerned caller also.
Yes,
I think
please,
the
you-
concerned caller
okay.
was very spot on. Thank you, sir, for the confidence in me. And please tell your neighbor and your neighbors that every Tuesday we'll be with Harry Kalaba on, if it's not me, my other colleagues will come on this
In short,
platform.
we'll be with the citizens.
Yes, they'll be
first.
with the citizens first. So please join us on this program and hear more of the manifesto of the CF and the programs that the CF has. So please, thank you for believing in us. We'll not let you down. Triple H, I think, was also very generous in his remarks. I think he was just saying that I've been very humble. And
You are not malicious.
I'm
in
not
your
malicious,
submissions.
you know, in my submissions, because why should I be malicious? I mean, all of us are trying to save one constituency, and that constituency is Zambia. So why would I want to be malicious? I think it is high time that we talked to issues, and that's why, even when you wanted to drive me towards I didn't want to talk about them. Abene awakabakanda bale balolela kundola namumfa makoza ayo
Okay.
akakande yali amani mu August.
Okay. Well, Mr. President, as we now come to the end of the program, your message to the people, why President Harry Kalaba instead of all these other leaders that we have?
Well, I would say that I'll let the viewers out there try me. I have served in government before. I was a civil servant before. I know how the civil service operates. I know how government operates. I know the challenges that this country is going through. Together with the team that we are constituting together, we understand where we can take Zambia from where we are today. So please hold our hand as we hold yours as well, because together we can do it. And for those of you that might want to join our party, we ask that you make sure that you can call 0977 0977 43 22 11. 0977 43 22 11. That's for Comrade Philemon, MCC. You can also call our Deputy National Chair Lady, Madam Marjorie Mtakwa. She's on 0977 779133. 0977 779133. Then I've also got the district chairman for the Citizens First, Comrade Carlos. Is on 0977 808720. 0977 808720. Or our provincial chairman is on 0977 366107. 0977 366107. Those are the numbers that you can call our colleagues, and then you are part of the Citizens First. Our secretariat, next time, you should put on those things of yours. You should put that the secretariat is in Elm Road, it's Woodlands, and that kind of stuff, so that the people can even know where we are.
Okay. No, not a problem.
We are a very organized political
We'll
party.
put in those things of ours.
Put those things of yours. And thank you again to our sponsors, our colleagues, the friends who have believed in us, even when others thought that we are not making sense. There are people out there who came together and said, Harry, we have to support you and the Citizens First. so that the Zambians can know your agenda. And so we'll be talking about our agenda here.
Okay. No. Well,
Yeah.
it was a pleasure hosting you, Mr. President. Looking forward to